Hello and welcome to Media MD, your fortnightly Doof Network dose of media that you have somehow missed. I'm Reuben Morehouse.
And I'm Elliot Diebold.
And this fortnight we are joined again by Optimus Prime Matias from Do the Right Thing.
I think Elliot already made that joke on Do the Right Thing as well.
Oh,
I told Reuben to make it again here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, see, we got production value here. So we are back to talk about The Transformers, the movie, 1986.
Yeah, I think both of these are very important.
Yeah, and what a the movie it was.
I agree.
So normally we would start with a plot summary, and I guess we'll do that here too. But it's going to devolve pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, it's the plot is a little complex.
Yes,
I feel like you just need to strip it down as much as possible.
Yeah,
it does not follow a classical orientation, complication, resolution type structure. It's just kind of and now we're over here this time, and we're doing this thing.
Yes.
I would say about 75% of the plot can be boiled down to the Decepticons find us again and attack us, and we lose more Autobots, and then we run away.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I think it was about 30 minutes in before I realised I was still waiting for the movie to start.
Yes,
I thought we were
me too. I had this exact same response.
It was like the action scene at the start, and then you're going to hit the orientation.
Yeah.
And it was about 30 minutes in where I was like, okay, I don't think we're doing that. We're just still in the action scene.
Yes.
Yeah, what's funny is I watched it this morning to refresh myself, and it was not in a like sit down enjoy the movie mode. It was I was making breakfast and like had it on, and then I was like gonna pay attention, and then I realized like 30 minutes in I was like, oh wait, they're gonna think that like these guys are main characters and that these guys are main characters when like none of them matter. So I was like, how long will it take for you to figure out who matters?
This actually, one of the main problems I had with this movie was I was really struggling to remember which robot was which. I found it very hard to differentiate between Ultra Magnus or whatever. Because he was obviously plot relevant. Hot Rod was the one I could recognize. Which is good because he's the main
only
character.
4 real characters in the entire movie. And that is Hot Rod, later Rodimus Prime, of course. Oh yeah. Which is I love it. There. Megatron and later Galvatron. Cup, which is the old guy that goes with Hot Rod.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. I guess Optimus Prime too, but he's
Unicron.
He dies very early on. Unicron, of course, yes.
Yeah, what about
that's it.
Beastatron? What was his name? The T-Rex that was horrible and annoying and the worst.
Oh yeah, Grimlock.
No, excuse you, Reuben. Grimlock is the reason this movie is good. I will not have any Grimlock hate on this episode of the show. He is the shining beacon of this movie for me.
I don't know. Grimlock is down there with Wheel and I forgot the other one's name, but the one
it's not worth remembering. I've seen this movie like 6 or 7 times, and I don't remember any of the characters. Well, okay, I do, but like I don't try to remember any of the characters except for those 5 because they do not matter.
Is Wheels, was that the one who goes real fast?
No, that was Dash. Wheels was the rhyming one, the one who's tiny and speaks in rhyme.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Oh
yeah,
he's not very good.
There are a few questionable character choices.
Yes.
In this.
Completely agree.
I think, Matias, I've forgotten if you mentioned, did you watch the TV show as a kid or before you saw the movie or anything?
Definitely. It's not like I went to theaters and saw this movie as I was not alive at the time. But no. Well, I watched some of the show. I watched the series of the show that were like most visually similar to this, which there were like 2 or 3. But yeah, I was a fan of the show as well.
Were you a fan of so if I remember
the first
correctly,
generation?
The timeline is like first series, which is all the core characters, the ones who die in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Yes.
And then the second series is like Hot Rod and RC and all the people who are introduced here, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't watch Generation 1. I think I watched like Generation 2 or 3 or something.
Okay.
But like it had a similar design and most of the characters came back.
Right.
And like these were some of the characters I was more familiar with, especially the ones that actually matter. So,
Okay.
Yeah, just because I mean that's the thing. This seems like a movie that is specifically targeting people who've watched the show because it spends the first 10 minutes just killing off all the characters.
Yes.
Yeah, and it does so in an aggressively plot-driven way, in which is extremely confusing. So if you want to just like do a real quick plot summary over the first 10 minutes, we could do that.
Sure. Let me go over it. So basically, the movie opens with this giant egg with a beak, and it goes to some robot planet that isn't the main robot planet, I don't think, but is another robot planet.
No, it seems like all the planets are robot planets except for Earth, where
basically
people on Earth seem to dress in robot suits anyway.
Yeah.
There's only 2 humans in the entire thing, so I always question whenever we have to go to Earth. This is the most boring place.
Robots
Please
meant to
go
be
somewhere
in
else.
disguise, but they're just like out and proud as robots on Earth.
That was what my sister said the first time the little boy came on screen. She was like, "Wow, that robot's got a really good disguise."
Nice.
But it's I feel like the human characters are basically only included as like that very surface level, like, see kids, this could be you.
Yeah, I remember even as a kid wanting him to just get off screen at all times. I was like, I don't, this is awful. Well, okay, not awful, but like all the other characters are far more interesting at all times, so.
Yes. Okay, so, all right, slow down, guys. This big egg, named Unicron and voiced by Orson Welles, comes and eats this planet, and that's the start of the plot. And then
it's horrifying.
It is. Like, it's really dark.
Yes.
Because they show us, like, footage of this planet, and there's, like, a mall, and there's just families in the mall, and we watch them kind of get absorbed by Unicron. And it's like, okay, we're doing this in a kid's movie, I guess.
And they're trying to get away, and 2 ships fly off, but one gets sucked back in and like calls out the name of the people who escape, and it's pretty great.
Yep. And then we cut to a big robot doing some fishing, and we're introduced to the rest of the Transformers that we know and love.
Or you skipped a little bit, I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. There's another ship.
You forgot Moonbase 1 and Moonbase 2.
Yeah. So there's another ship full of
This is where
Autobots,
it gets very confusing.
And then some Decepticons ambush them and steal their ship and kill them all.
You skipped another scene.
Did I? Oh my god, how many scenes are
there?
So
you know what? I can summarize it, as I've seen it many times. I'll do it very quickly. So we start off in this extremely confusing part where a bird Decepticon that's shaped like a eagle flying into the moon base and then like spying on Optimus as he says we need more Energon cubes, so go to Earth. And then the bird flies back to Megatron and is all like, hey, and it's a cassette and it plays in someone's one of the Transformers turns into a boombox and plays the cassette out.
There's a lot of cassette-based Transformers. Yes. I didn't realize there were so many.
I loved it.
I love it so much. And then that's when the Decepticons go and attack that ship of Autobots and kill, I think it's Ironhide and someone else as well. Like with smoke billowing from their mouths as the light fades from their eyes. It's magnificent.
So are those TV show characters? I didn't know who those were.
Ironhide has been my favorite character forever, and he dies very, very fast in this.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was actually meant to be a named character. I just figured that was like a red shirt death.
No, these are primo Transformers. So the Decepticons take this Autobot ship, use it to sneak into what I think is called Autobot City, and basically attack and murder many of the Autobots. Optimus Prime and Megatron have like a fight in which they both are mortally wounded from. And then Optimus Prime dies. So that's fun.
Yes. And passes the matrix of leadership.
Yes.
And then he passes it and it falls from his hands. And guess who catches it? Not Ultra Magnus, the next heir, but Hot Rod.
Hot Rod. That's foreshadowing. This is a good movie.
I hadn't even made that connection. I did not see this coming. I was not expecting a Transformers movie to kill off Optimus Prime 20 minutes in. It's kind of crazy. I don't know, like he just defines the franchise for me as someone who's barely associated with said franchise. It's like, I don't know, it's like killing off Pikachu and Detective Pikachu or something. Like, it's weird.
Yeah. He's like in every single series, he's the most important character. He's the most interesting character too. He's the father figure. He's the he's a true good guy, but he also like does some really, really difficult decisions. He's great. yeah, he dies super early. He does die fighting Megatron like a badass, but
and Megatron also dies from his wounds in this battle, or is going to die and then gets like resurrected by Omnicron into Galvatron. Sorry,
yes,
yeah, these names are just nonsense.
What are you talking about?
This Galvatron bit is just so blatantly like, hey kids, that Megatron toy you have, that is so 1985. You got to get Galvatron. Like, it's the same person. He's just got a new name because that means they can market it as a new toy, and it's so blatant.
The other Decepticons that they throw loose from the ship also become like Galvatron's new lieutenants.
Yeah.
And they're also like new Transformers that are ready for in stores now.
Yeah. I do notice that they were all specifically named, but I would say that like it works to me in the world pretty well, as like Megatron loses his independence and becomes a slave to Unicron. And I don't know about you guys, but like the transformation scene where it kind of like changes art style is very interesting to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So on that name thing, I think that would work better if he was like trying to reclaim the name like Megatron or something, but it's
yeah.
Like I think there are ways you could make it work. I agree. I do not think they did that. They just sort of like, and he's Galvatron now.
I don't disagree that this is a toy commercial. I don't disagree.
Oh, I forgot to mention one of the most important bits from the Battle of Autobot City, which is there's a Transformer called Astro Train, who's just a big train.
Yes.
And they all just they're like, oh, we got to get out of here. Astro Train, quick. And Astro Train comes in, and he's a train, and they all get on the train and ride the train away.
And he's evil.
He's a big evil train.
Astro Train's my second favorite behind Grimlock. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. They're just like, we need to get out of here. Let's call out a giant train transformer. And it's like, okay.
Which we never see what he looks like as a actual
humanoid.
As a humanoid robot.
But I mean, as we're sort of touching on that point, I think that's definitely one of my favorite things about this film is, you know, we've touched on the cassette ones, the boom boxes. Like, there's just so many cool designs in this film. Like, Unicron is really cool until it just becomes a humanoid thing like everything else. But like, there's just the design of this planet that goes around swallowing other planets is really cool.
Yeah, I agree that the full humanoid form of Unicron's kind of a letdown. It's very like, his face is cool, but everything else is very just like toy-y, you know? But like his transformation sequence, in every sequence where we see his insides, is this fascinating shifting alien landscape that mixes like the blocky metallic stuff with this also like bulging and shrinking organic bits. And I like every time I watch this movie, especially if I have like the lights off and I'm fully paying attention, like I'm just captivated.
Yeah, there are definitely some really nice animated sequences in this movie. And I think Unicron is probably one of the most interesting parts of the movie because he is just this kind of devastating force. But then that's like maybe a fifth of the movie. And the other 4/5 of the movie are just like a slog.
Perhaps.
The designs of these Transformers are great, though. I love anytime I see a metal robot with like a metal mustache, it always makes me giggle.
Yeah.
How great were the, like, I don't even know how to refer to them. The ones that were on the planet in the second half of the film with the wispy
Junkions?
mustaches.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
The biker bots.
Yes.
Is what I was referring to them as in my notes.
Yeah, biker bots works. Yeah.
They were hilarious, especially because the stupid universal greeting works on them. That whole bit is so great.
So yeah,
and they talk like TV.
Well, yeah. So these Eric Idle voiced robots. I guess let's continue the plot. So at this point, the Autobots basically splinter into two groups and are running away from the Decepticons. One group, I can't really remember what happens to them. The other group gets imprisoned. Who knows? Eventually they reunite and they use this universal greeting, which is bar weep, grahna, weep, ninny, bong, and it helps them make friends, and then they kill Unicron.
Yes, and at some point, the Decepticons get the matrix of leadership, and they take it to Unicron, and they have to get it back because Unicron's about to eat Cybertron entirely, which also at that point is completely Decepticon controlled. So really, that Autobots should be like, okay.
Yeah, and Galvatron tries to like usurp Unicron, but just kind of fails completely.
Yes.
Because he doesn't have the access to the matrix of leadership. It's not really explained what qualities he's missing, but I don't think it needs to be. We know Megatron / Galvatron's a shithead, so
and a coward.
Yeah.
Like he like begs for his life multiple times in like a
that's true.
Like as a way to spare his own life to and with the intent to trick multiple times. So
I want to touch on. So we talked about the nice character designs, and so there's this part where half the Autobots get imprisoned on this planet with these like crocodile things and this multi-headed robot thing that like judges them.
The very beginning. They land on that planet and they crash land. In the first sequence when you get there is they're underwater and they're partially in pieces and like entangled in this metallic underwater life and they have to fight out of it. I don't remember if you guys remember the music for that too. It's amazing. Like I think it might be Instruments of Destruction or it might be something else, but it's wonderful.
Was it the song Dare? Because I swear they played Dare about 8 or 9 times in this film.
They played Dare twice, and they played also Dare to be Stupid twice. Dare to be Stupid was very short succession, so you probably just heard the word Dare a lot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to call out this one, and this is, in a flawless script, the one logical inconsistency that I noticed. Or not even a logical inconsistency, just funny. There's this bit where...
I know what you're about to say, yeah.
I don't... Okay, okay, we'll see. There's this bit where the judge robot is judging people. And he says they're either innocent or guilty. And almost all of them are guilty, and you expect each one to be guilty. But then there's this one that he calls innocent. And then this guy just kind of gets either pushed or scared or falls into like this lava acid vat, which is what they've been using to kill all the guilty people. And he was innocent. How come he got into the lava vat? I don't understand.
I paid attention to it because it's something that I've always been confused by, but all of them are innocent. Yeah, and they all get thrown into the shark pit. Which the shark
makes no sense.
Sharks are called Sharkions, also. Just so you know.
Wait, so they're all innocent?
Yes, but the judges has like the multiple faces and stuff. I think it's just to show that they're just evil and they just kill everyone no matter what.
That makes sense.
I guess I don't
realize they were all innocent.
I've never understood it either.
This leads into something I wanted to bring up though, which is this movie is full of one-liners for some reason. And there's a great one here where I think Hot Rod, when they're on it, is sort of saying something and they're like, be silent or you will be held in contempt of the court. And Hot Rod's like, I have nothing but contempt for this court.
Classic line.
It's so good.
I mean, there are some others, like I think in that original assault on the city, there's a bit where it just cuts to one of the Autobots and he's like, I've got better things to do tonight than die.
There's one... There's some lines by Jazz in this same battle on the city where he says stuff like, and I wrote this one down, your days are numbered now, Decepticreeps, which is such a stupid line.
That's at the very beginning when they start going. He has 2 lines, like he says a line, then Optimus talks, then he talks again.
Yeah.
And in both of them, he says Deceptive somethings.
Yeah.
It's
Deceptive jerks, I think he says at one point too.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, I obviously I thought it was kind of corny now, but I could totally see me as a kid loving some of these one-liners, which is presumably why they were kept in there. It's just like, because a lot of them are just complete non sequiturs. I think maybe the one where I was like, that's just really good is there's a bit where Unicron is like, I've summoned you here, Megatron, and Megatron's like, nobody summons me. And Unicron just responds, then I'm pleased to be the first.
Oh, yeah. Unicron's lines are probably the most well executed in the entire thing. They feel extremely measured and they're like in this polite but like incredibly overpowered kind of tone. And of course, brilliantly voice acted. So.
Yes, there's actually some really good voice talent. Galvatron's voiced by Leonard Nimoy in this as well.
Yeah.
So what else do I want to say about this movie? Like, it's got the vibe of... I think the best way to sum it up is it's got the vibe of some kids playing on the playground, right? It's like, oh, well, I've got Megatron. Oh, yeah, well, I've got, the cassette robot. Oh, well, I've got the Constructicons. Oh, yeah, well, I've got the Dinobots. And you're just kind of smashing them into each other.
Sure,
constantly trying to one-up each other with the different robots that your mum's bought you for Christmas. And that feels like most of this movie.
I think for me, and I don't know much about the production of this film, I didn't get around to looking into it, but it feels to me like there's a very good story that was ready to be told that kind of got crushed by the need to add new lines of toys.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's a really good story under the surface of this movie that's kind of been smudged by and here are eight new Autobots. Buy them now.
Yeah. I would say that just like whole 50% of the movie, like in different parts that are just like incredible, like would be a masterpiece if the rest of the movie was exactly like that, you know?
Yeah. There's some shining moments in this film that just don't land as hard as they could because they're surrounded by bits that are that could be better.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at, there were some intense moments, and then we have like a complete tone shift as we switched off to like some weird other thing. And then of course there's other questionable choices, like there's the token girl transformer, which is like why? I'm just glad that there wasn't like a romance. That would have been so much worse.
But the Transformers are age-ended, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my point. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be female representation in Transformers, but like
I know
she's a pink
she's
Transformer.
Like a pink robot. Yeah. She's very clearly coded to be the female Transformer.
Yeah,
and again, I don't understand why gender even has to be a factor in Transformers. Like that seems like a bullet they didn't even need to dodge.
How do Transformers reproduce?
It changes depending on the season. Like, okay. It really,
Fair enough.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is, it seems like this universe was very confusing to me, having only seen the film, because it seems like every planet is Transformers. So, like, from different biomes
every planet
of Transformers.
Is robots, except for Earth, which is organics.
But they're not just robots. But it is weird. Even the Sharktacons, there's this one bit where they transform into humanoid things, and I'm like, why are they also transforming? They're like shark bots. So why do they need to?
But it could be different. Sets of Transformers transform differently.
Yeah.
Also reproduce.
But they all transform differently. Into humanoid. They all transform into humanoid creatures.
And on the same planet, there's the judge has like tentacle arms, and it's like they don't look like they're robotic at all, and they're also constantly waving. They never stop waving. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I thought that was hilarious.
I did, honestly, part of me suspects that maybe having a coherent or logical universe was not at the forefront of the designers' minds.
No, say it ain't so.
That's I don't know. I'd have to look at some interviews or something.
So this is the interesting thing about this movie is I kind of agree with you, Elliot, that it feels like there's some really interesting ideas buried under here, but actually the things that drag it down are the things that feel like they're the parts that are actually the most accurate to what the cartoon would be. Like, if I'm imagining... Without ever having watched an episode of Transformers, I'm imagining, like, the scenes where it's, now there's Decepticons chasing us and we need to fight back, which is the worst part of this movie, is, like, what most of the actual show is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know whether it's, like... Yeah. And the things that are the most interesting about this movie, also, the fact that, it's Unicron and he eats all these planets and kills all these named characters, like... These are the decisions that were motivated by the fact that they needed to get rid of the old toy line and bring in the new toy line. Yeah. So it's actually the
but you could have made it work. I think there could have been more effort put into. I actually think the Optimus Prime thing, it becomes a plot point, and it's actually done pretty well.
It's actually really well done. Yeah.
Yeah, the killing of Optimus is an example of how it can be done right.
Yeah, that's true. But then that only exists. Like, what I'm trying to say is, the bits that we like are the bits that only exist because they're introducing a new toy line, and the bits that we don't like are the bits that are actually the most loyal to what Transformers is. So they should have gone more with it. They should have not worried about Transformers, made it more about selling new toys, and then it might have been even better.
The movie can open with Cybertron getting eaten by Unicron.
Yeah.
And then there's another planet of Transformers that's separated thousands of years ago that swear vengeance.
Yeah.
And they're all, just the same thing but different colors and twice the price. And Hasbro, call me.
Well, for real, I mean, I would actually fully support a remake of this particular Transformers movie, Like a remake where you take the ideas and the theme, like take the general trend of what's going on here and the things that are done well and try to recreate it, but execute it in a actually well written script.
Yeah.
But okay, so besides these things, like we can all very easily agree that this is not a this would never win an Academy Award.
No, of course.
I would like to talk about just like the simpler stuff that it does well.
Okay.
Like for me, the score is like I mentioned this in the prescription, but I listen to it to get like pumped up and happy, like because they're so upbeat and like I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm extremely biased because this is something I watched a lot as a child, but yeah.
No, I agree with you. I found myself really enjoying the music, both the score and the like licensed songs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like the soundtrack was a banger.
Yeah, it was nice. It was very like electro, which is definitely my style.
Yes. Like there's some like I was paying attention this time of like where they come back, right? So you have like The Touch, which is like the climax song, like comes on when Optimus first comes on and like saves the day, and then it comes on at the very end when victory is happening and Hot Rod is using the Matrix of leadership and Unicron blows up and all of that. So like it directly like ties that emotional like it's Optimus Prime, hell yeah, as he like when he first comes on the scene. I don't know if you remember this, but he transforms from his truck part, which the actual like back part of the truck does not matter whatsoever, but the trailer doesn't matter whatsoever, but he has it, and he like flies up and like does a flip, and as he's coming back down, he like shoots like 10 guys. It's great. And then later on, Hot Rod is doing his thing, and it's got the same feeling. It's awesome.
Yeah, this movie definitely had a fun vibe. Like the kind of feeling of this movie was, I think, one of its strengths. And like, it is just fun to see all these robots transforming into different things and battling each other. Like there is a part of your psyche that just appeals to.
Oh, there's a reason Transformers is even still quite successful today. It's because that fundamental premise is just really fun. Like there's just the idea of giant robots that transform into different types of giant robots and they shoot each other a bunch. Like it works.
Yeah. Okay, I want to pull out two other nitpicks that I have here, and this is just going to be the whole thing.
We'll address
So first of all, Megatron transforms into a gun? Is that is that normal?
Yeah. Yes. I never understood it at all because it makes him like unable to actually do anything himself.
He has to like jump into Starscream's hand so that Starscream
and also,
can shoot him.
I figured it was a power
everyone
play.
already has a gun, but like it's pointless. Yeah, no, it's awful. It's one of those things where like he almost is never actually in the gun form. He's always like just in the humanoid form, and he has like a giant cannon on his arm.
I guess if you're a good leader, that is your strength. Is enabling your the people that you're leading to be powerful. And so he's trying to demonstrate that by transforming into a gun, being like, look, I'm here for my people. I'm a tool for my people to use. That's what a good leader is. And that's why he transforms into a gun.
Yeah, this is why Megatron, the one theme his armor is supposed to look like a World War I German soldier, like a Kaiser's like helmet and stuff. Yes, he's empowering.
He's embodying good leadership. And my other nitpick though is every time any of them transform, it's the exact same sound effect, and it drives me crazy. It's this exact same like whoop, 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 whoop.
It's the Transformer sound effect. It's in the movies too, the new ones.
But why is it the same sound effect for every single transformation?
Because that's the transformation sound effect.
Yeah.
All right.
Why would it sound different?
Yeah. No, actually, I like that. Like, it's such an iconic sound. Like, I don't know. I'm all for that.
I want to recreate it with my own mouth, but it wouldn't work, so I won't. But sorry, I just wanted to call out the scene where Megatron has come back as Galvatron to the surprise of all the Decepticons, and he comes back to the coronation ceremony for Starscream.
Oh yeah,
who's just delightfully annoying, and I love him so much. And he has a crown on and stuff. And it has that weird beat where like it's trying to be funny, where like the trumpets keep interrupting his coronation. And then Galvatron shows up and says, "This is a bad comedy." And then Starscream goes like, "Is Megatron, is that you?" And then Galvatron says something, I forget exactly the line, but it's something like, "Take a guess." And then he like turns into a gun and shoots him. or I'll give you an answer, or something like that, and then turns into a gun and shoots Starscream, and then Starscream turns to ash.
Yeah, it's fucking horrifying.
And he crushes the golden crown underfoot like it's paper. It's
watching this film reminded me of something that me and my sisters had as kids. Was we had a VHS copy of Digimon the movie. We never watched Digimon the show.
Right.
We never had a Digimon or a Digimon game. We loved that movie. The soundtrack was great. I think it was probably nonsense. I haven't seen it since I was 13. But like watching this reminded me of that feeling. I was kind of like, okay, I think if I'd seen this when I was the same age as when I watched Digimon the movie, I would have that same attachment. Like, I think I could watch Digimon the movie today and it would be trash, but I'd love it. And like, I can see Transformers as being like a better version of that.
Yeah, I would say that.
That makes
just
sense.
The fact that
it's the same kind of atmosphere.
They're cool
all of
robots.
These shows, I think, have of this like it's an adventure, right?
Yeah, and it's appealing to those same childish sort of fantasies and stuff.
Yeah. I would compare it to that. Yes, where of course I enjoy it a lot easier because I've already watched it. But I think if you just get in a good like mindset where you just like want some visual candy and like just cool stuff happening, I think this is a good movie for that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good movie to watch on an afternoon where you're half doing something else.
Yeah.
That sounds insulting a bit, I guess. But...
Well, okay, I wouldn't enjoy this movie half as much if I would like. I was making breakfast when I was watching it, and I did not enjoy it as much as like when I have like the lights off and I was like, I'm in the mood to just like watch some fun explosions and stupid characters and stuff. But I think it would be a lot of fun, if you drank or got high or something, like in a legal state, of course. But I think this is that kind of movie where it's just like, if you want to have some stupid fun,
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like my sister and I had a pretty good time watching this, and sometimes we were laughing at it because it was a bit stupid. But I mean, it's a movie for kids from the 80s. Yeah. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Of course, our format demands that we give it a number. So,
wait,
Elliot...
hold on. Before we do, I want to talk about Michael Bay's Transformers movie.
Okay.
I'm just blatantly using this discussion as a platform for me to talk about how was the original in 2007, like the Michael Bay original one. It's a really, really, really good movie. I actually unashamedly like that
first
film.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of the series goes to shit. Don't get me wrong. But like it's interesting, I think, to compare this 1986 one with the 2007 one, and we talked before about how there was a good movie buried underneath this 1986 one. I kind of feel the same about the 2007 one. Yeah. It's a pretty good film that has like signs that it could have been great. It just sort of it shoots itself in the foot a bit, and this movie does the same. It's kind of like, I feel like you could combine these two movies and make a very, very good film.
Yeah.
It must be so frustrating for like real diehard Transformers fans to keep getting movies that are almost brilliant.
Well, it's interesting because it's like I as a fan of Transformers, I definitely want that to happen, but also it's like it's never happened. But like I have no material. I guess I could point out some comics or something as a good story, but it's like the standard for Transformers is just stupid fun and never like actually well written, executed themes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's interesting. I remember liking the movie, but also being disappointed by it because it wasn't in the same kind of style.
Interesting. So you're saying the standard for Transformers has always been unrealized potential?
Yeah. I don't disagree. Yeah. I would go so far to say.
All right. Well, you said it, not us. So direct your angry emails to dotherightthingcast@gmail.com.
I have a whole Humble Bundle. There was a Humble Bundle for like a bunch of Transformers comics, and I still like own them, but I've never actually read them because they're all digital, and I haven't figured out a way to comfortably read digital comics.
Well, I had Transformers War for Cybertron on PS3, and that was actually a kick-ass game. It was like just a third-person shooter, but you could transform into vehicles, and like as a game mechanic, that was actually fantastic.
Yeah. There was a video game for the 2007 Michael Bay Transformers movie, and it's actually like a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, as an adult, I probably would find some of the mechanics and the story probably a lot more annoying, but it was a lot of fun because you would play as different Transformers with different styles of play. There was one whole area where you would play as there's the Scorpion Transformer in Decepticon in the movie.
Yeah.
And like you would swim through the sand. It was very interesting. So
I remember, I think, a Nintendo DS game where you could it was kind of like a GTA style thing.
Yes.
And you could just scan any car and then transform into it. That was cool.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of like interesting takes on it. It's just like it never goes all the way in the story department.
But none of them ever land properly.
Right.
So what score reflects that attitude of it could be good, but it just falls a little bit short?
I mean, for me, I want to give this a 7 out of 10.
All right.
I think for me, it's a 6 out of 10.
I understand.
There were just too many parts that drove me crazy, especially Dash and Wheels.
Oh yeah, they're awful.
The two most annoying robots.
Yes, they're terrible. Honestly, I would say, like, other than the 5 characters I've said a couple times, like when they split up into 2 groups, right? One is Hot Rod and Cup, and then the other one is Hot Rod, Cup, and then the dinosaurs, and the other one is everyone else.
Yeah.
Just the everyone else should have just blown up because it was so utterly pointless. The only thing that redeems that whole half is the Junkions because they're just so fun. But
they are fun.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we forgot to make fun of Rodimus Prime as a concept. So let's just quickly fit that in. I don't know why they felt that he had to be Imus Prime something. I mean, he could have just been Hot Rod Prime.
It's on multiple levels because when he does the transformation, you can barely tell, right? He barely changes at all. I don't actually know if he does, but I just assume he does, right? And Rodimus Prime sounds awful, of course. And then in addition...
Yeah, what is that? That's not a thing.
And then he turns into a truck version of his normal transformation. Yeah. But his normal transformation is of a very fast, sleek-looking car. So it looks terrible as a truck.
Yeah. If you picture the word Rodimus and how clunky and unwieldy that is, that's what his car form looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, good movie though. Thanks for bringing it to us, Matias.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed it on some level.
Yes. Now, Elliot, it's time for you to tell us about what we'll be talking about next fortnight.
Yes. So I've ummed and ahed on bringing this one for a long time, and I finally decided to do it.
I love a good preface to recommendation, a good couched recommendation.
I'm bringing the TV show that was on Fox called New Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm assuming a lot of people, even if they haven't seen it, have maybe heard of it.
Yeah. It ran for 7 seasons, didn't it?
Yeah, there was sort of a shortened 7th season to finish it off, kind of similar to Parks and Recreation in that regard. So it went on for quite a while, and I guess part of the reason that I've ummed and ahed about bringing this show is because kind of like any sitcom, it has a bit of a slow start. I rewatched the first 3 episodes in preparation for bringing it today,
and
it's just and I mean this is the same with all the even Community, which is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. The first few episodes, when you're not already invested in the characters, just don't really hit you very hard.
Yeah.
So I'm worried that New Girl may not suit our format super well. Because, if you don't manage to get through too much of it in the 2 weeks, you may not make the connection with the characters that is really what makes this show so good.
Yeah, I mean, how plot dependent is it as a show?
I mean, not particularly. If you jump ahead a season or 2, there will be new relationship statuses, maybe a new character who's around for a season or 2, that type of thing. But
sure.
That's going to be a minor inconvenience at best. But then at the same time, I don't know how much. I think the writing and the acting and the jokes all definitely improve in the later seasons. But I don't know how much of that, might not land quite as hard if you don't have that history with the characters. Because more than any other sitcom that I can think of, what makes this for me is how much I loved each of the main characters. Whereas I think even the Michael Schur shows, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something, I think you can have someone jump in halfway through and they get the characters' roles very quickly. I think part of the strength of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec is the kind of tropish personas the characters all kind of immediately slot into, and the jokes work from there. Whereas the characters in New Girl, maybe apart from Zooey Deschanel, who's my least favorite character anyway, they're all kind of a bit offbeat and different, and there's a little bit more subtlety to them, and I think it takes them a bit longer to find that and grow into it than some of the others.
So the only thing I know about New Girl is from this one scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where there's a crossover. Yeah. Which stuck out to me as very, very strange at the time. And I guess we'll see whether I think that after I've watched some New Girl, but it was a very weird thing to happen.
Yeah, I was watching both shows when that happened, I used, because they aired back to back, so I think that was why it happened.
Right.
So, you watched, I think it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it had Jess, Zooey Deschanel's character, in it, and then the episode of New Girl directly after had, I think, Boyle or something from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in it. And yeah, I agree. It was one of those very false flat, commercially oriented crossovers that added absolutely nothing to either show. But I think something that really works about this show, and I think maybe part of the reason that didn't work, is this has a very different style of comedy to most other shows, I think. Not as pronounced as, say, you watch a British comedy show versus an American one, and there's a distinct difference in the styles of humor. It's not that pronounced, but compared to, say, all the Michael Schur shows feel like they have a similar sort of style of humor. I don't know if it's because New Girl just has a different creator, or the creator of New Girl, Elizabeth Merriweather, is a woman. I don't know how much all of that impacts, but there's just a slightly different tone and style to the show that makes it a bit unique, and I think makes it more enjoyable because of that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking her up, and I'm not recognizing any of the other shows she's done. So maybe she's just got her own kind of style,
Yeah, I think she made a movie I watched years ago with Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher in it. I forget the name of it. It was something
No Strings Attached. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's not what I was going to say, so I'm glad you looked that up.
Saved you.
Yeah, so I know she's done some other stuff. I think New Girl's one of her biggest ones, but yeah, I don't know. It's just different enough from most of the other American shows. I'd compare it to Community. Okay. Community feels different to everything else, and New Girl feels different in a similar sort of way, where it's just got its own sort of unique style. And again, I want to preface this by saying I think it takes a while to find that. Watching these 3 episodes again recently, I was kind of this feels like a version of the show that hasn't quite found itself yet.
Is it the same, Community is very much like a fast-talking, witty kind of style, right? Is that what New Girl goes for as well?
No. New Girl's style is... Man, I'm trying to think of the words to explain it. Hopefully you'll do better in 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we just leave it and we'll get to it in a fortnight.
Yeah. They definitely favor the sort of, somebody says something like, that's the time blah, and then there's sort of a random non sequitur cut back to something ridiculous that's happened in the past. I think Family Guy used to do that. Yeah. I vaguely remember. I think New Girl does a really good job of it, but the rest of the humor is sort of just defined by, again, the characters. They're so weird.
Yeah.
But I also love all of them. Zooey Deschanel's, as I said, she's my least favorite. She's the one who takes the longest for them to find the rhythm with her. But even by the end, I sort of liked Jess's character. But the others, they're just so good.
Okay, cool. Is there any other stuff to keep an eye on? You've touched on how you really like the characters. Anything else that you want to talk about before we get into it?
No, I think, just really, I think the slightly unique comedy style and the characters are really what make this, for me, something that's worth watching.
So, yeah, I guess we'll be back in a fortnight to see what we thought of New Girl. So, again, thanks for joining us, Matias, and thanks for staying quiet while we did the other part of the show that doesn't super involve you.
Yeah, I found it fascinating, especially because I've never seen New Girl, and won't, so... Yep.
That's why you're not going back next fortnight, because you don't have to sit through it. Yes, so if you would like to get in touch with Matias, how can people find you, Matias?
You can, I never plug my actual Twitter, but you can follow me at Matias AJ Mason. Yeah, you can find us on Do the Right Thing. Jarvis and I, we write stories every week, and sometimes they're good, but usually our guest stories are pretty fascinating and fantastic. And Elliot's was this week.
There you go. So it'll be almost like you're listening to this exact podcast again, but just Jarvis instead of me, which is, I think, a pretty good exchange.
It's a different
can we look
flavor.
into making that permanent?
Yes, Do the Right Thing is another great podcast on the Doof Media Network. If you'd like to find out more about the Doof Media Network, you can head to the Patreon, patreon.com/Doof Media, where you can see all the great shows on the Doof Network.
In addition, I also wanted to point out that Matt was on an episode a while ago as well. So if you just want to see the different... And Reuben, of course. I just skipped over you, who are on this call.
Yeah, thanks.
So if you want to see... hear some of the other Doof members and the stories that they wrote, please check them out. They're really, really, really good.
Yeah, Matt's stories are always great.
Yes.
Yeah, they really are. And there's there's a bunch of other great shows on that Doof Network, so check it out. doofmedia.com. It's the place to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also on doofmedia.com you can find links to things like leaving us a review on iTunes, or the other great shows, of course, but you can also help us figure out just who is Dr. MD, and why is transformation so humanoid? Elliot, why don't you tell the listeners this fortnight's clue?
Rubber.
Rubber, and we'll see you next fortnight.